All right. How's it going, my magnificent sons of bitches? And come back for another really quick video. Probably not going to be on very long tonight. Well, today, this evening. I just wanted to go ahead and do a video because apparently go over the situation that's going on right now with Russia. I know that a lot of people probably on YouTube, some people probably know what's going on. A lot of you probably really don't know what's going on. And then, here on Facebook, as I've already served my little 90, what was it, 48-hour band or whatever it was on Facebook, where the internet is kind of becoming exceedingly useless at this point, right? I mean, really, not a lot of traffic to go around out there. Not a really good place to market on currently, if you stop and think about it. But yeah, I figured I would go ahead and I like to put these videos up for posterity purposes. That way, in a say few months to a few years, whenever all of the shit basically comes out, my videos are up there for posterity. And basically looking in hindsight of where we probably what we probably should have done. That's kind of where we're at right now, much like it was for the commie cough. Whenever I said, yeah, shutting down the economy should not be acceptable, people laughed at me, mocked me, and called me a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. But we kind of see exactly what that led to when they were printing out stimulus money like the drunken whore that Nancy Pelosi is. And I said, we probably shouldn't do this. And I said, it's going to lead to the prices. Well, everybody called me a, tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. And we see exactly where we're at today. So, of course, now we just keep on, going down the little breadcrumb trail of stupidity that's allowed to, that's facilitated by places like YouTube, places like Twitter, places like Facebook. They facilitate this stupidity. At some point in time, you have to wonder what the hell any of us really are doing on this platform. But for now, this is the only platforms that my StreamYard works. This video would probably be better off on Rumble and BitChute. I'll probably upload it to BitChute, as a matter of fact. I'll use my Bo Bison and, record this because, to be honest with you, I get more views on BitChute than I do here on YouTube anyways. But that notwithstanding, I figured I would go ahead and get into this Russia bullshit and the Ukraine scandals. These scandals have went all the way back from Obama. Whenever you take a look at what in regards is going on in the Ukraine, where Russia is basically fighting in those areas that have pretty much already had, a diplomatic vote to go ahead and join Russia. The media just, spins this bullshit. If you listen to the media, you're going to be misinformed. You know what I'm saying? If you don't listen, you're uninformed, and you're better off being uninformed and going ahead and doing some research. Look at people who are not invested in, causing a nuclear war. There's no benefit for me. There's no benefit for any of you, regardless if you're in the media or not, for trying to instigate another Cold War. It's not in anybody's best interest. It's not going to produce any kind of real, the fruits will be able to see the fruits, that it produces, and it, produces these, sociopaths pretty much. So now where we're at right now, is so the Obama administration went ahead back in 2014. This was whenever Ukraine was having their little identity problems and whatnot, where, basically they were putting in this proxy government. They were having these, it's basically to a degree like your progressives here, probably 10 times worse than the progressives are. The progressives are utter communist, and ultimately Savoda is social. They call themselves social nationalist, as a spin, as a play to a national socialist. That's what the Savoda Party which ultimately formed the new coalition government that was in the Ukraine. See, if people were up to speed on knowing exactly what was going on in the Ukraine, then ultimately you would find out that all of these people that are, having their little Ukraine flags, just go ahead and mark them as shills. They're not trustworthy, you know, they're not to be trusted. And ultimately, they're the same people who keep on repetitively causing all the calamities in this country, whether it be these uh, hoax mass shooting events that they use to exploit all the time, whether it be printing out stimulus money to give out to people to go ahead and inflate the currency and drop that dollar out like a drunken whore. You know, the shit is consistently not going to work. They're like, oh well, this will work, and this is how we. But they have no real explanation. They can't explain how their process of thinking is going to work. All they could sit there and say, well, if I do this, then this will happen. No, that's not how it works. It only works in theory, but it never works in practice. Never works in practice. So, ultimately what you have is, the Obama administration implementing basically a Nazi, and it's not even neo-Nazi. You can't even consider this proxy that is backed by the State Department in Ukraine. You can't even consider them neo-Nazis. They're actual, literal Nazis that were connected to the Nazi Party. Basically, the Svoboda was similar to what the Nazi parties were in Germany. That's what they were for Russia at the time. And so these people were implemented into the Ukraine. And so you have a more democratically leaning government in Russia. It's considered, and the reason why that Russia put Putin back in charge, the reason why Putin is back in charge in Russia, the reason why he's at least calling the shots, I won't even say that he's really back in charge, but the reason why they reelected him is because he is a conservative. He was a conservative back in the 90s. He ultimately helped the Russian economy. And ultimately, they understood that Putin was going to go ahead. He was going to build that pipeline, and it was going to generate. And if instead of the United States trying to control everything, which is exactly what the goal of the UN is, all of these people that are in charge, the big bankers and the, too big to fail people out there that print out money and, basically are the United States of America, and the globalists that are in Inner London and Switzerland and all these people that run all these schemes and do all these little operations, that's what they're in it for. They're in it for global control. They don't want any competition to the petrodollar. They want to rely on that oil for the OPEC nations and allow them to control it. It's what it's about. And basically, this is what this is all about. It has nothing to do with what is the best interest for the people in Ukraine. Now, is it in the Ukraine's best interest to go ahead and join the United Nations, to join NATO, and to join all of that rigmarole, or is it in Ukraine's best interest to go ahead and join Russia? I'm not going to sit there and say, but we already see, given the resume that is NATO, you can go ahead and what's up, Stephen? You can go ahead and understand that if you're Ukrainian, you would probably lean more towards making a deal with Russia, and you can see the benefits of this, than making a deal with like the UNs and your Joe Bidens and stuff like that, because we see how they treat their own. We can see how Europe is treating their own. You see all these people going out in mass, whether it be in New Zealand and all these Western countries and whatnot, and how they're protesting, how they've shutting down the economy, how they've went ahead and printed out the money to go ahead and collapse. Why would you want to go ahead and join in on that? So ultimately, Ukraine is looking at, joining, whether it be now. I don't care what the proxy governments. I don't care what Medvedev or whatever the fuck the clown is, the little comedian goof that they put into office, that everybody puts up there as like some sort of hero. With the Ukrainian flags and all that shit. I don't care. That to me is a joke. I don't watch that shit, and I'm definitely not taking anything that they say seriously. I mean, you have your platform, and pretty much anybody with any common sense understands that you're lying. I mean, you have a history, you have a reputation. There's no saving you, you know. And regardless, I may not be 110% on Putin. I don't trust Putin no more than I trust. Well, I probably trust Putin a little bit more than I do Biden because he's got a fully functional brain. But that doesn't mean that I trust Putin more than I trust my own country. It just means he doesn't have the reputation that everybody in this country who is currently in charge of the State Department has. We already see exactly that you are not to be trusted. And this is where you're finding the issue. See, they're trying to go ahead and get the United States as a population in mass to go ahead and get involved in some sort of new Cold War because they're hoping that a Cold War will pop off into a hot war where they can go ahead and say, well, it's human nature. Oh, well, there was the problems. We had to go to war because of this, and then the little fucking nihilist people could sit there and say, "Oh, humanity sucks, and this is why humanity," and all this other shit that they do, particularly from the secular point. This is what happens whenever you usually take God and faith out of school. Everybody kind of becomes superficial, and this is exactly where we're at in this country. It's not Call of Duty. It's not going to be World War III like you see on the video, the Pretendo that you play. It's not. They're not going to be playing. What was it? White Stripes, Seven Nations, Army and whatnot. They're not going to be playing that shit. All right, that's all in your fucking head. That's make believe. However, we can go ahead and go by reputation, and there isn't enough on Putin for me to go ahead and say, yeah, this guy is some sort of war criminal. This guy is some sort of tyrant. This guy over here is abusing his people. There's just not enough evidence of that, but I can see more evidence as it pertains to, current election results and current media propaganda in this country. Yeah, I could sit there and point and give you a big fucking resume of all the bad policies and all the bad shit that has been implemented here. So, of course, I'm going to be kind of fucking biased. Not because I think that Putin is great by any means. That's up for the Russians to decide. That's not even up to me. If the Russians want Putin as their president, then they're going to, Putin is going to be president. If they don't, then he's going to be taken out. What I can tell you is exactly what is going on in this country. I can't hold Putin, anything over Putin's head because I don't live over there. But I can hold our own government accountable. That's one thing that we can do is control our own government. So basically, Putin is doing exactly what he needs to do in the best interest of the Russian people. You know what I'm saying? If the shoe was on the other foot, and Putin was coming over and implementing certain policies and implementing certain governments into Mexico, and it was threatening our border. You could sit there and look at our fucking conservatives right now, and it was threatening our border, and there was a lot of shit coming across our border. We would have to go down and deal with it. We would have to go ahead and take it out. We wouldn't give a shit what they think in Russia. And so ultimately, this is where they're at right now. And the United States and your Joe Bidens and your mainstream media, they're trying to instigate, some said, a little proxy war. This is how fucking, and a lot of it has to do is because they don't have any control of the media anymore. They don't have control of the direction, the popular opinion of this country anymore. Most people, ever since the fucking Comic-Con and the efforts to go ahead and push lockdowns and these ridiculous fucking mandates, they've killed every ounce of their credibility. So nobody's going to put any confidence in the same motherfuckers that have routinely lied to everybody. However, however, with that being said, I have come up with a way to go ahead and avoid certain catastrophe, as I would like to sit there and say. And first off, it would require getting rid of all these fucking Democrats inside. I'm not saying that the fucking conservatives, because you got guys like Mitch McConnell, you got guys like fucking Eye Patch McCain, Dan Crenshaw, that are heavily invested in this ridiculous fucking scheme. At the end of the day, it ends up being more of a Ponzi scheme where they're going ahead. We need to go ahead and send more money to Ukraine. 100 and what is it, 630 million at a time. They signed one bill. I think it's like 40 billion or something that they sent to freaking Ukraine. And that all that money is going into these, big companies, uh, fucking military industrial complex fucking douche fucking contracts and shit to go right back into their pockets at the end of the day. So that's exactly what we're looking at right now. So all this money goes right back into their pockets, and that's exactly how this works. So it's basically like a big fucking Ponzi scheme, and like a lot of people say, it's pretty much a big money laundering going out right in front of the United States people, and a lot of people kind of understand this. So the best way to go ahead and avoid this is, we probably got about some 8 million people here that truly are invested in Democrat propaganda. These are the people that go ahead and prepare the propaganda. A lot of the people that work in these little state departments, that work in these little organizations, that go ahead and manipulate the media, that dream up this ridiculous bullshit, right? To go ahead and keep everybody distracted, other than the fact that they're stealing a large portions of your money, that they're taking a large portion of your freedoms. They'll go ahead and pass some sort of ridiculous fucking bill that nobody signed up for, and nobody, had they talk about democracy, but none of us really want the shit. So, the best way to go ahead and deal with this is, since we have so many of these people, probably, like I said, it's about like 8 million people, I would say, in total. Whenever I look at the algorithms on the internet and the interactions, the organic interactions, I'm not talking about interactions of like this fucking sock account right here that Robbie Battle seems to think that nobody knows it's him, but everybody understands exactly who the fuck it is. So, I mean, it's not like, these little ridiculous fucking antics work anymore. I mean, you're living back in 2013, you're living back in 2014, whenever there was more organic traffic. Yeah, could work. When there isn't that much organic traffic, this shit doesn't work. You just look like a fucking cuck is basically what you look at like. However, with that being said, since there's so many of these people, these media personalities, particularly like in Silicon Valley, these are the people that go ahead and decide that we need to go ahead and implement all these little, we got to put filters over everything. We've got to go ahead and fact check everything. The people who can try and control the narrative, they don't control the narrative. They just go ahead and censor the internet and think, oh yeah, well, this should control the narrative. It never does. It's the Streisand effect is exactly what the fuck it is. It's just making it worse and worse and worse. So you have all these people in mainstream media that promote this propaganda. They push these narratives. They, they go out and they censor everything. All these people in the State Department, all these people in the mainstream media that try to instigate the shit, your Rachel Maddows, your MSNBCs, all of these news anchors, all of their little affiliates, all their producers, anybody who's connected with, going ahead and causing this, you've done a lot of destruction, in this country already. You've ultimately inflated our currency. You've ultimately shut down our economy. You ultimately abused our power. And these are for certain politicians that have invested interest in these projects as well. I don't give a shit if it's Ted Cruz, I don't give a shit if it's, Nancy Pelosi, all of them. We go ahead and we arrest these people, and then we call up Putin. and saying, "Oh yeah, you're probably going to want to run that pipeline. You're probably going to want to run it through Siberia." You know what I'm saying? You're probably going to go ahead and rebuild the Nord Stream pipeline. We've got 8 million workers here right now that ultimately, uh, need to be put on trial. We need to find something for them to do. We can't allow them to go ahead and, go unchecked. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we go ahead and send them to like Russia or something, into Siberia, in the middle of the fucking Siberian Iceland out there, to go ahead and work as like contractors for Russia to go ahead and produce more energy. I.e., we get more energy. Russia will get these 8 million workers right there that they can use as indentured servants, to a degree, much like, because that's what they want anyways. They want the state to take care of them. They want this universal health care. they want they want free health care. They don't want to have to pay for food. They want a set wage or whatnot. How's it going, Scott? Um, this is what they want. You know what I'm saying? This is exactly what they want. So we'll go ahead and give it to them. We'll go ahead. We'll arrest them. All of these people that are in these departments that are making all these decisions, that are trying to instigate war, is trying to collapse our economy, the ones that are trying to take our freedoms, our individual rights, the ones that come out and claim, oh, we need to go ahead and teach your kids all of this weird out, what do they call it, critical race theory and other crap that they try to force into your kids, making your kids more inept and less effective at becoming productive citizens in society. All of these people that are, strongly aboard on this extremely leftist progressive ideology, we go ahead, we find out, how much did you contribute, and we'll ship them on to Russia to go ahead and work on those pipelines. You know what I'm saying? Effectively, then we can work on our own pipeline, and start producing our own energy. And then if we get our own pipeline and we produce our own energy, we can run it from Canada into Mexico. And, we could start using oil from, Mexico and Canada to go ahead and, use that to sell to other markets and whatnot. Maybe we give that European market to Russia. Sounds like a good plan to me. Let Russia have the European market and we'll take the Asian market. Say, here's the deal, Russia. We'll go ahead and let you have the European market. We'll go ahead and let you have the Middle East market, and we'll take the Asian market. We'll take Japan. We'll go ahead and take Japan, China. We'll take Indonesia, India, and Turkey and all that. And then you can have the European on into the Middle East, Iraq, Iran. You can go ahead and take that market, maybe in some parts of Africa. And I think that ultimately, we could get more accomplished if this is exactly what happened. So, I think that would be the best deal that we could possibly do. I mean, ultimately, let's be real, none of the people that were vets and people that are more libertarian, independent, the only ones that are stupid enough to sit there and think that we're actually going to be able to even possibly go to war with Russia and China are people on the left. You know what I'm saying? The cucks on the left, and I'm not talking about Robbie Battle's little sock accounts, because Robbie Battle's sitting there, he's fucking, has no fucking life. He's just sitting there going to be fucking bored and boring all of us, So I don't care about that. But does anybody really think that, a war with Russia is going to come? It's really gonna benefit anybody? No. Let's just fucking send our little leftists. Let's go ahead and send all our shills. Let's go ahead and send all of these people that decide that they wanted the Silicon Valley people that have an invested interest, that have worked against the best interest of this country. Let's go ahead and send them all to fucking Russia. Let's go ahead and say, Putin, here you go. These are the people that are implementing the proxies. These are the people that are threatening the sovereignty of your people. These are the people that were at fault. It's not us. It's not American as a whole. It is these people right here in the media. It's this administration. It's your Kamala Harris's. It's your Nancy Pelosi's. It's your Hillary Clinton's. Well, you know what? Here you go. Here you go. You can go ahead and take them and use them. If you want them to mine for whatever the hell in Siberia, don't care at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. We'll send these people to you as indentured servants. We'll go ahead and give them a fair trial. We'll go ahead and put them on trial. But at the end of the day, we already know exactly what's going to happen. Do the military tribunals. Call for another Nuremberg. Otherwise, you're going to get 6 more years of inflation. This is going to happen regardless. The prices are still going to continue to go up. They're going to sit there and pass this ridiculous freaking carbon tax credit, the fucking Inflation Reduction Act, which hopefully, if we get the Republicans in, the Congress and the Senate, if we have that red wave and they're not doing exactly what they did in 2022, 2018, and believe it or not, in 2016, where they're manipulating shit, then ultimately maybe we get that shit repealed. And it doesn't happen. And ultimately, we can go ahead and maybe do tax cuts, because this is exactly how you effectively fight inflation, is by tax cuts, not by tax increases. And I meant the last people that you want to listen to about economics are the same ones that went ahead and caused this fucking debt to rise, that caused a problem. Why would we even fucking listen to you? It makes no fucking sense. So it is what it is. But anyways, yeah, I figured I would go ahead and make this video. Go ahead and put this out there. What do you think about going ahead and, sending these people over here, sending these cucks, these leftist shills and whatnot over to send them over to fucking Russia. Let Ukraine decide what Ukraine wants to do. Stop getting involved. Stop sending them $40 billion. Stop putting in proxy governments. Stop having a little fucking drag queen fucking comedian guy, there as the fucking face of Ukraine. Stop putting those cringy ass Ukraine flag on your profile pictures, because you're not solving anything. You look fucking ridiculous. You look like a clown. You're not standing with Ukraine. You're standing on Twitter. You're standing on Facebook looking like a complete and utter fucking tool. That's what you're doing. So, yeah, it is what it is. The left really kind of sucks at the internet. Ever since the internet's come out, they just really can't. The left can't trend. They can't meme. They can't go viral. All they can do is sit there and use bots. That's about it. So anyways, you people tell me what you think. Do the shit YouTube tells me to do to get over. And for now, I'm out.